You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, repeat offender, and FAFSA expert, Chris Bissonnette is with us. Welcome. Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today. I've beaten anorexia. That's not what we're celebrating. But it is National Spaghetti Day. I'm not a big fan of spaghetti. I like the penny pasta. I like pasta a lot. You know, of course, how do you get to be my size without liking pasta a lot? Penny pasta, that's a good one. And I can't go to my favorite restaurant for that.
Spaghetti Factory?
No, they closed. Sabatino's. Ever been to Sabatino's?
In Newport.
In Newport. Lido Shipyard, they closed.
I know this issue there.
Yeah, me too. That's not a pleasant one. There's actually two issues. But missing it. I go back there. I go back there so far, Chris. I celebrated my 40th birthday there. That's a long time ago.
30 years ago?
Not quite that old. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 179, 180 points. S&P 500 is up 7. The NASDAQ is down 15. Oil's down $1.24 a barrel. And we've got the 10-year Treasury up 6 basis points. What's going on? What's driving that? Well, we'll be watching that. I'll share with you what's driving the markets today. And more importantly, what's going to drive the markets tomorrow, because it'll basically be the same issue. We're going to continue to watch that for you. But you know something, being that we are early in the year right now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a workshop today. It's something that we don't normally do at this time in the broadcast, but we are looking early in the year. So I'm thinking, you know something, maybe it's a good time for us to think about this workshop. And it is something that's a little bit different. I don't like that camera. Ooh, not scared, it's scary. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. Top 5 mistakes first-time home buyers make. You got to understand this. It'll also work for repeat buyers, but we're talking about first-time home buyers right now because they're brand new to this stuff. So avoiding common pitfalls in your home buying journey. Welcome to another informative session from ronsiegelradio.com. If you're a first-time home buyer or even thinking about stepping into the realm of home ownership, this is a crucial video for you to watch and repeat watching. I'm about to dive into the top 5 mistakes that many first-time buyers make, and trust me, avoiding these pitfalls can save you not just money, but also a lot of stress and heartache. Number 1, not getting pre-approved. You got to start off on the right foot. The biggest and perhaps the most common mistake is not getting pre-approved before you start house hunting. This isn't just about knowing what you can afford. It's about being prepared in a market where interest rates can swing wildly. A pre-approval sets the foundation of your home buying process. It helps you understand your budget, the required down payment, and the kind of interest rates you might face as the market shifts. Keep in regular contact with your loan officer. That means once a week to ensure your pre-approval is updated. Very, very important step before you even go out shopping, and I want to tell you exactly why. Here's the big issue. I have looked at hundreds of houses over my lifetime. I've bought quite a few. I've gone and visited even more. I've looked at some properties that are $200,000. I've looked at some properties that are $150,000. I've looked at some properties that are $4, $5, $6 million. I have never, ever, in all the houses I've seen, found a $400,000 house that was nicer than a $2 million house. And I know that's a big extreme, but the issue right here, and I know you're probably as a first-time buyer, you're not looking at a $2 million house in the most cases. But here's the issue. Even if you're a $600,000 buyer and you go start looking at $800,000 houses, there's a likelihood you're going to be disappointed and you're not going to find the house that you really want because it doesn't match up. It doesn't hold a candle. You're saying, well, I like that one better. Well, of course you did, because it was out of your budget. Just throw that out there. If you go and you understand what your budget is, and I know that just because you get pre-approved for, say, a $600,000 or $700,000 or $800,000 loan, that doesn't mean that that's smart to spend that much money. I tell people all the time, look at a budget. We'll see what we can get you qualified for. I've had people that we can qualify for way more than what they should ever be spending. And we talk about that. That's part of the pre-approval process. Now, there are some companies like our friends at Geneva Financial, which will take it one step further and get you pre-underwritten, which is better than a pre-approval. You actually all you need to do is find an address, get an appraisal and insurance, and you're good to go. You can close right away. Pre-underwriting is better than pre-approval, but pre-approval is the very basic. It's kind of like if you're a poker player, the ante to get into the game is a pre-approval. The pre-underwrite, that means you've got 4 aces. Just throw that out there. Number 2, spending money during the process. I had this one too. Once you're in the process of buying a home, it's vital to maintain financial status quo. Spending large sums or taking on new debt can jeopardize your mortgage approval. That's why you need to be having a conversation with your lender. This includes racking up credit card debt or financing big purchases. Somebody buy a motor home and a Mercedes-Benz in the middle of their loan process and wanted to know, why did their debt-to-income ratio go out of whack? Well, you spent a lot of money. You added a lot more debt. We find out about that stuff. It doesn't go unnoticed. Remember, your goal is to buy a home, so discipline in your spending is key. Any major financial changes should be communicated to your lender to avoid unpleasant surprises. Number 3. This is a biggie. Lying or fraud. You're not going to get away with it. Honesty is the best policy. This should go without saying, but honesty in the mortgage process is non-negotiable. Fraudulent activities not only have legal repercussions, but also harm the integrity of the mortgage industry. Be transparent with your lender. I will not, my team will not, my company will not jeopardize our licenses because somebody gives us fraudulent information. We find out about it, we report it, we end our process right there. Any misrepresentation can lead to serious consequences, including the loss of your dream home. There are several points during the loan process where there are fraud protections and services that are being looked at in the background. Number 4, not using a real estate agent. Navigate with expertise. A skilled real estate agent is invaluable, especially those first-time buyers. They can guide you through the complexities of the home buying process, negotiate deals, and offer expert advice. It's crucial to select an agent based on their experience and reliability rather than just opting for a friend or family member who might lack professional expertise. Nothing wrong with friends and family members. I've got some of both. None of them that I know of would I be looking at to help me with a real estate transaction. It's not what they do. They might be the greatest people in the world. I want somebody that's got expertise. And yes, I know you might be hearing right now that there is a lawsuit going on with the Department of Justice and the National Association of Realtors because they say that there's been some activities where it's been misleading as to whether the prices are inflated to pay the buyer's agent. Everybody gets paid. There's no free lunches. So if you're not paying it, somebody is paying it. And it's fair to ask who is. Ask your agent who's paying you. Not a bad question. You know something? I don't want to go to the orthopedic surgeon or the cardiologist that's working for free. I want to go to the best there is. That means I got to pay for it. So be aware of that if you're getting in that question mark. Number 5, waiving inspections. Better safe than sorry. In a competitive market, it's tempting to waive home inspections to make your offer stand out. However, this can lead to unforeseen problems and expensive repairs down the line. A thorough home inspection can reveal issues that aren't apparent at first glance. It's a small investment for peace of mind and to avoid costly surprises after you've purchased the home. Even if you're not going to take advantage of them, you need to know them. The California real estate contract, and I have a real estate license. I'm not qualified to use it because I don't practice either. But I understand there's like 37 ways a realtor can void that contract legally. So even if you waive the inspection, have it done anyway, so you know what you're buying. The bottom line: be prepared and seek professional guidance. Embarking on your home buying journey can be exciting, but it's essential to approach it with the right knowledge and preparation. Avoid these common mistakes, and you're already a step ahead in securing your dream home without unnecessary hurdles. Remember, for more insights and more guidance on home buying, mortgages, financial planning, keep tuning in to RonSiegelRadio.com. We're here to help you make informed decisions for a secure and prosperous future. Your dream home awaits, and with the right steps, it's within your reach. That's the Borrow Smart segment. It's a little bit of a workshop. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. When we come back, we're going to talk about the FAFSA report with Chris Bissonnette. Yeah, a lot of changes going on. You might be hearing about those. Pre-approval is your home buying game changer. We'll talk about that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit RonSiegelRadio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR, just the lock rates with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. What happened with the loans yesterday? That's the latest data we can get is what loans closed at yesterday. 30-year conforming, up a little bit, 6.683. 30-year jumbo, up a little bit, 7.34. 30-year FHA, down a little bit, 6.504. USDA, that's our rural areas, generally no down payment. That was up a little, 6.589. Best loan on the market for those that earned it, 30-year VA loan, 6.235. If you want our market commentary, we come out with that every morning as early as the data allows. Go to rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. We'll share that commentary with you right there. It is a free service. We send out the email, one email, and it's gone to you. So let's see what's going on right now. The S&P 500 is up 7 points as we speak. The 10-year Treasury flirting with 4. It's at up 9 basis points today. 3.99 is the yield on that. Mortgage-backed securities, the bond itself is down 21 basis points, which means interest rates are up a bit this morning again. Why? It's all about the data right now. Now, the ADP employment report came out for December, showed that there were 164,000 jobs created during the month, stronger than the 130,000 expected. This follows a weak November and October reading, both around 100,000. Good producing sectors only added 9,000 jobs. The biggest gain coming from construction, but manufacturing shed jobs once again. Those are the high-priced jobs. Services added 155,000, which was led by leisure and hospitality, which added 59,000. As a head-scratcher, as it has been weaker in the last few months, and job openings in this sector have been on the decline. So maybe there's some temporary hiring in there. ADP also reported that annual pay for job stayers increased 5.4%, which is down from 5.6% the previous month. Jobs changers saw an average increase of 8% down from 8.3%. Fed minutes were released. We've got that information out. Those came out yesterday after we did our broadcast. Fed appears to be on the right target. Finally, it took them a while to get there, but they actually did in their minutes say that they're actually looking at something we've been talking about for months. They're looking at the 6-month PCE core rate, which shows 1.85% if you annualize it. So the Fed's target is 2%. They've been looking at these numbers based on a year-long category, and they're like 3.2 for the year. If you look at the yearly number on core PCE. But if you look at what's really recent, it's 1.85. And maybe if they start looking at the recent information, it might help us from not having to get to overshoot, which the Fed usually does, where they raise for too long and then they have to do a recovery real quick. Apartment list released its December rental report, showing that new rents fell 0.8% during the month and are down 1% year over year. 5th monthly drop in a row, and should translate to lower shelter costs in the inflation reports we get from the CPI and the PCE. Remember, those are delayed numbers, so we'll see what happens there. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's chat. It's college time. Maybe I'm too old for college, but maybe you're not. Maybe your kids aren't. Maybe your grandkids aren't. But it's expensive to go to college if you want to go to college. But our friend Chris Bissonnette is here. Maybe he can give you some strategies on saving some money, like not going to Harvard, Chris.
You're not going to Harvard?
I wouldn't recommend anybody going to Harvard. I mean, and that's just my opinion, watching what's going on. Of course, they don't like Jewish people there, so I'm in trouble. But good morning, Chris. Glad to have you with us.
Oh, thank you.
So I was watching the news last night, and kind of about the time that I found that you were going to be coming on the broadcast. I mean, I know you booked it, and I don't always look too early, but I saw that you're coming on, and all of a sudden I'm looking, and there's a segment on the FAFSA report, and that it's changing. And well, the website is about as good as Obamacare apparently right now.
Yeah, so they've been talking about changing the FAFSA website now for, it's been like 3-4 years. They were supposed to do it about 3 years ago, and they kind of pushed it off until this year. So FAFSA normally you can file October 1st, but now it's January 1st. And then they made some major changes to it that will affect a lot of people.
So let me ask this question though, before we get into some of these changes. Is the only way of doing it on the website, or are there other ways of filing your forms?
I don't think you can do it any other way but filing through FAFSA's
website.
Yeah, FAFSA.gov.
So it's not like you have on our taxes where you might have a easy form or
there might be a way to do that. They used to have a FAFSA form, but they no longer print them. So I think everything is online now.
Okay. And I saw there the comment, at least the way and again, it was on the news. It wasn't on Channel 4 because I don't watch NBC, but I thought they said they had cut it down to like 18 questions or something
it's 30,
like that.
It's like 30 something. It used to be up to 112 with the supplemental. So they've supposedly simplified the number of questions, but the real problem there is they're just merging categories together. And 90% of FAFSAs have mistakes or irregularity. So we're going to continue to see that.
So when you say that they merge it, so it means like there's question 1, question 1A, question 1B, question 1C. Is that?
I haven't looked exactly how they have it lined up because it just opened January 1st.
And that was only to a small amount of people from what I saw. They're really not opening it up to everybody until the end of the month or something.
Well, they were supposed to be open. They were supposed to do it on December 1st. Excuse me. And they got pushed off to January 1st. But people who went on
not only are they
1st,
3 years late, they also didn't get even.
It wasn't done when it was supposed to be. But even if you went on January 1st, it says the site's unavailable. So I would imagine for the next probably 2 weeks, it's just going to be overloaded with so many people trying to get on it.
Especially being that it's. Didn't you say that they used to be able to start filing in October or something?
October 1st used to be the filing date.
So people are kind of worried right now.
Well, what's interesting is some schools require the CSS profile. That was still October 1st. So normally you file your FAFSA, then the profile. This year, no, school wants you to do the profile and then do the FAFSA afterwards. So it's kind of backwards. But a lot of people are stressed out on it.
Well, and you shared with me in the past, both on the show and not, that the questions are not really, the answers to the questions are not always straightforward.
Well, they make it very vague. It says, like, for example, what are your investments? And then people put their house in there. They put their IRAs in there. Those don't go there. So it's just, they make it so vague. And now they're merging it together. I can only imagine the mistakes people will make.
So it goes back to the same thing. If you want to get the real good results, you need to get professional guidance.
I tell people, listen, if you had for example, USC popular school here, it's $92,000 a year. If you had a $92,000 tax bill, are you going to TurboTax, especially if it's kind of complicated, or are you going to use the CPA? So I believe that should be the same thing when it applies to filling out the FAFSA and the CSS profile. You should at least have someone consult you.
We figured $92,000 a year, and from what I see, a good number of people are taking over 5 years for that 4-year education.
5.6 years is the average.
5.6.
And 1/3 of freshmen changes majors or drops out. So people are picking the wrong school. They're taking too long. And then obviously if they're coming out with large student loans, about $41,000.
So you're looking at a $500,000 expenditure, or as the government puts it, an investment. And you're thinking about doing it on your own without seeking good counsel.
Yes, I have people that come to me, they filed a FAFSA, and then I'll go in and amend it because they've completely messed it up. And then they end up getting $30,000, $40,000 right off the bat.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you charge more than $30,000 or $40,000 to do that?
So sometimes.
So you're telling me before the broadcast today that there's some pretty significant changes coming up.
There's 3 doozies. Okay, so one, in the past, if you had 2 children in college, your expected family contribution was split in half. They're no longer doing that. So people who have 2 children in college are going to see a huge increase in what the family's supposed to contribute.
So wait. So you're getting penalized as far as from the government subsidies.
Yeah, you used to get like a discount if you had 2 children in college. There's no longer giving you that discount starting this year.
So you have to pick which kid you like best.
Yes.
I got Chris tongue-tied over here. Okay, so I guess that's probably not the good idea. Don't pick which kid. So if you were going to get, and I think one time you mentioned to me that you had somebody that got a $70,000 or $80,000 grant from NYU.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if you have 2 kids, one going to NYU and one going to Cal State Fullerton,
that might be $35,000 now.
Wow.
As far as your grant goes, yeah.
That's a big change.
Well, it's going to shock a lot of people, especially the ones that have kids in school right now. They're going to be really shocked this year when it's like, why is it so much more expensive than last year?
Can you allocate it how you want to, or does it just get split down the middle?
Well, what they do is they take a look at your income and your assets as a family, and then they assign you a number. This year, it's called Student Aid Index. And then, so it used to be where it was discounted with 2 children in college. They're no longer doing that.
But what if I have one child going to USC and one going to Santiago College?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Santiago College, a junior college, doesn't cost hardly anything.
Mm-hmm.
Can I take my whole contribution to the USC child, or do I have to split it in half?
It splits in half. It used to split. They used to give you a discount in half, but what they do is they assign a number to the family based on income and assets.
Okay,
and then that's just the formula that they use.
It's a little
complicated. It's a little complicated.
From what I recall you telling me, when they assign a number to the family, as based on the income and assets, you have to know which income. It's because it's not the same as what you might be putting on your tax return, and you have to know which assets they really want to know about.
Well, the income now they use the IRS retrieval tool, so it's going to pull it in.
Okay.
But one of the problems with that, and I don't know if they've corrected it, but if you did a 401k rollover into an IRA, that counted as income on your.
So you have a one-time windfall.
So people would be like, "Why is my EFC number like 600,000?" And now you have to investigate and go, "Oh, it's because you guys had a $500,000 401k rollover. The system is kind of messed up. It pulled it in as income. We have to amend it."
Wow.
So even when you use the system, it was messing up. We'll see if they corrected that.
Interesting. We're going to continue our conversation. We only got one of the major changes. There's 2 more that Chris is going to teach us about. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Why pre-approval is your home buying game changer and more. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Hey friends, do you dream of mortgage-free home ownership? Are you aware that even if you own your home free and clear, it could still be costing you thousands per year? The Siegel Lending Team can help you generate tax-free income, accumulate family wealth, and maintain ownership of your home. By simply emailing your most recent mortgage statement, you'll receive a no-obligation real estate plan. Learn more by calling 1-800-306-1990 or email me your recent mortgage statement to PEAR@RonSiegelRadio.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Why pre-approval is your home buying game changer if you're thinking about buying a home. Pre-approval is a crucial part of the process you definitely do not want to skip. So before you start picturing yourself in your new living room or dining on your future all-season patio, be sure you're working with a trusted lender to prioritize the essential step. Here's why. While home price growth is moderating and mortgage rates have been coming down in recent weeks, affordability is still tight. At the same time, there's a limited number of homes for sale right now, and that means ongoing competition among hopeful buyers. But if you're strategic, there are ways to navigate these waters, and pre-approval or pre-underwrite is the game changer. What pre-approval does for you, to understand why it's such an important step, you need to know more about pre-approval. As part of the home buying process, a lender looks at your finances to determine what they're willing to loan you. From there, your lender will give you a pre-approval letter to help you understand how much money you can borrow. The lender then, if they're a good one, they're going to take that same data and go and send it to the underwriter and get you a pre-underwrite. That way the file is completely done. Freddie Mac explains it like this, quote, a pre-approval is an indication from your lender that they're willing to lend you a certain amount of money to buy your future home. Keep in mind that the loan amount in the pre-approval letter is the lender's maximum offer, sometimes. Ultimately, you should only borrow an amount you're comfortable repaying, unquote. Getting pre-approved starts to put you in the mindset of seeing the bigger financial picture one step at a time. And the key is actually more than just getting a pre-approval letter from your lender. The combination of pre-approval, pre-underwrite, and strategic budgeting is your golden ticket to understanding what you can actually afford. It saves you from painful heartaches down the road so you don't fall in love with a house that might be out of reach. Pre-approval helps show sellers you're a serious buyer, but that's just the beginning. Let's face it. There are more people looking to buy than there are homes available for sale, and that creates competition among home buyers. That means you could see yourself in a multiple offer scenario when you get ready to make your move. But getting pre-approved for a home mortgage can help you stand out from other buyers. In today's fast-moving housing market, having that pre-approval in your back pocket can be your secret weapon. When sellers see you're pre-approved, it tells them you're a strategic and serious buyer in a world of multiple offers. That's a big deal. And as an article from the Wall Street Journal says, quote, if you plan to use a mortgage for your home purchase, pre-approval should be among the first steps in your search process. Not only can getting pre-approved help you zero in on the right price range, but it can give you a leg up on other buyers too, unquote. Pre-approval shows sellers you're more than just a window shopper. You're a buyer who's already undergone a credit and financial check, making it more likely that the sale will move forward without unexpected delays or issues. Sellers love that because they see your offer as a reliable one. A win-win, right? The pre-approval actually has its own box on the offer that says that as well, that you're pre-approved or pre-underwritten, which then is like the same as cash offer. So before you start mentally, bottom line, before you start mentally arranging furniture in your dream home, give us a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The reality is the more prepared you are, the more likely you are to land the home you're longing for. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation. Chris Bissonnette, he is the FAFSA pro, learning about the changes in the FAFSA process. If you've never heard of FAFSA, that's the form that everybody who has a child going to college should be filling out, or even if you're the adult going to college, you should be filling that out. It's kind of like 1040. People know 1040. That's a tax form, right? FAFSA, that's the college financial aid form. And Chris has some special information to share with us because it's changing. And if you think filling out the forms is tough, think about ignorance. It can be really, really expensive. Actually, I think that the term goes, if you think an education is expensive, try ignorance.
Yes, I would say, and just to kind of expand on that, the FAFSA is free application federal student aid, and everybody should complete it. I have the number one mistake Americans make with college. 35% of people don't submit their financial aid forms annually. Why? They don't understand it. They don't think they'll qualify. They miss it. And some schools require those forms for a merit-based scholarship. So even a scholarship based on your grades, like LMU, you need to submit a FAFSA. And some people don't even know that.
You wonder about it. And I don't know, Chris. I don't know if it's a blanket cost of doing it. And I don't want to ask you the cost. I'm just going to use hypotheticals from my thinking. So say it costs $1,500 or $2,000 to fill the form out. To have a professional guide you through the process of filling it out. I know 20 years ago, I spent $1,500 just on having a young lady help my son fill out his application the right way.
Yeah, so the application part of it, getting into the colleges, people charge $5,000 to $7,000 to get you in there. It kind of depends, it really depends. I mean, the way that I work is people ideally they do business with me, sometimes reposition assets or just do financial planning business, but people can also pay my hourly. But I do have some people where I go back and appeal the aid, which is another thing you can do. You go back to these colleges and say, thank you for the offer. However, it's a little light, and here are the reasons. And 70% of the time, the school gives more money. And so when I get people an extra $30,000 a year, well, they're very happy to, cover my time.
I would say they probably should be, right? So we got to number one of the three major changes.
Yes.
Probably should get to number one, and that was the fact that the discount or the benefit of having multiple kids going to school, that's gone away.
Yeah, multiple student discount is kind of what they call it. And they've talked about that for years now, but this year it goes into effect. The second one is...
Which is ironic, being that the president's been trying to eliminate student loan debt, yet they changed this right now.
Exactly.
Kinda odd.
Oh, it's going to make school college much more expensive for a lot of people. The second one is for the FAFSA, they didn't count small businesses under 100 employees. This year, they count small businesses with 0 employees. So that's going to be a little bit of a surprise that you're supposed to include now your small business. And then thirdly,
Wait, before you
go
go
ahead.
on to that, because a comment that you made to me is again an area that's going to be very, very easily erroneously completed. Because you made a comment to me that they want the value of the small business, and everybody that I know, I get a doctor or a lawyer. They come in and they say, "What's the value of your business?" Well, it's worth $1 million, right? Because it's their baby. It's something that they've worked their whole life to build. And is that the number that
No.
the number that I've got in my mind that my business is worth? Is that the number that I should be putting in there?
No, it's not. And I see that also as a mistake, especially with home equity, but it's the fire sale value. So what is the fire sale value? You got to sell it this week. So that should be a much different number than what the value of the business is. So most people don't know that.
Yeah. So if I had to sell my law practice this week and everybody knows that I have to sell it this week,
Yeah, it's
that
going to be a
million
much
went
smaller
down
number.
to 1,000 or something.
Well, it's a much smaller number. So just remember, they're going to start counting small businesses now on the FAFSA.
The bottom line there is if you didn't listen to Ron Siegel Radio or talk to Chris Bissonnette, you wouldn't know that as being the right answer. Chris, before you go on to the third one, talk about, because one that you've told me about years ago was the home value.
Yeah, it kind of works kind of the same thing where people say, "Oh, what's your house worth?" And it's worth 1.5 million.
He's pounding his chest for those of you that are listening on radio.
We don't really want it to be like this super high number. We want to know, what's the only real basis you can base it on is going to be the tax assessed value.
Sure.
And so that's usually a much lower number. So I always advise people to start there. Now, the school can come in and say, the schools that count home equity, which is a very small percentage, but your home equity, not like an investment property, but the school could come in and say, "Oh, well, we want to know what the value is, not the tax assessed value." I have never seen a school come back and challenge that number.
Okay, so and for most people, the tax assessed value is going to be a lot lower than the resale value at the current time.
Yes, unless it's like a brand new house, it usually is a lot lower.
Okay, so I'll just use my own example. Is my sister took over my mom's house post my mom passing, and my mom had bought the house in 1983. So the assessed value is like a third of what the resale value is or appraised value. So she was able to go in, and because of me knowing Chris, she was able to go in and put that assessed value in there.
Yep, that's what I would use. And then the last major change is they used to, if people were divorced or separated, you would use the custodial parent would be the one that they live with 51% of the time. So that was real easy for people to say, "Oh, they live with, mom's not working, they should live with her." Well, starting this year, it's who provides the most financial support. Well, normally that's going to be the person that makes more money. And so that's going to be a big change for people in that category.
So, and again, that's going to be one that people are going to get wrong. And the other thing is how do you determine who provides the most financial support, right? If spouse A is paying, $2,500 a month in child support, well, spouse B, how are they going to say, okay, $2,500, yeah, that's good, but the house payment is X and the food is Y and the car payment, how do they figure that out? How are they going to determine?
I'm sure a lot of it is going to be subjective. It's just that when people fill out these forms, they're very similar to your tax form, so people are very cautious. They always want to not lie on them. But I just find a lot of times people just put way too much information. They put the wrong numbers in the wrong places. Again, my suggestion for your listeners, if you're completing the FAFSA or the CSS profile for the first time, you should have someone consult you on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ambiguity in there, and answering the wrong way could cost you a lot of money. We're going to talk more about that with Chris Bissonnette when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less? All without having to spend more each month than you spend right now. Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at ronismylender.com. That's ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So it's story time with Ron and Chris. That's the idea right now. We're going to talk about, we give away a lot of information. We share a lot of information on the broadcasts, and it becomes hypothetical until you put reality to it. So I asked Chris, maybe he's got some examples that we could share, and he's done this on the broadcasts in the past, but let's talk about some examples, Chris.
Yeah, so I'll give you two. So I'm working with a client now. They've been clients now for 4 years. They hired me, a couple in Newport Beach. They have 3 kids going to college, all Ivy League type schools. So they're panicked, right? This is like when schools are $70,000, $80,000 a year. Their income was not super high, so they should get aid as long as they don't have a lot of assets, but they had a lot of liquid assets, like $1 million. So I'm like, well, if we can reposition the $1 million, which again is all legal, and then file the FAFSA, I think you're going to get aid. go forward to today. They have a student at at Johns Hopkins University and one at USC, and both of those schools
Fight on.
both of those schools each gave $68,000 in grants this year.
Wow.
So for 1 year, the client's family is receiving $140,000 in free money because they kind of had listened to my strategy. So over the course of college,
now, grants. Let's go back. Grants are the type of money that you want. You don't have to pay those back.
Exactly. So when you file a FAFSA, that helps you qualify for scholarship, merit aid, like grades and sports, grants, which is usually need-based aid based on your financial situation. And then there's also work study as well as loans in there. So what I really try and focus on is getting people needs-based grants, which is money from the school you do not pay back. This couple here with their 2 children, they have a third coming up, probably will receive about $300,000 in grant money over the course of those 2 children's college duration. And then I'll give one other example.
300,000. That my math is a little slow here, Chris.
Well, just
140 this year.
Yeah, the year before it was a little less, so it could be.
I mean, you talk about 4 or 5 years. It's a lot of money.
It could be maybe 400,000. I mean,
it's a lot of money.
It's life-changing amounts of money.
Absolutely.
For some of these people, I get them life-changing. And then I'll give you one other example. Gentleman, students going to LMU, and he's like, I filed the FAFSA, and I hear this a lot. I filed the FAFSA, I got nothing. I assume, all these people think, oh, we'll get nothing. And then he heard me talking at the Irvine Chamber of Commerce, and he goes, well, I don't think I'm filling it out right, so I'm just going to hire you. So I amended the FAFSA. Why? He had put his retirement accounts in the investment section. He had 3 properties, and they were all, current value versus tax assessed value. After we did that, within a month, LMU gave him a $30,000 needs-based grant. So within 1 month of hiring me, he got 30 grand. This year for the student, we expect to get about 50,000 in grants through Pell Grants and maybe a Cal Grant, as well as institutional aid from the school.
That's pretty significant. And then that doesn't even talk about the fact that you've mentioned to us in the past, and maybe even earlier in the broadcast, that sometimes people can hire you to do an appeal. Talk about what appeals do.
Yes, that's another very interesting aspect of the business. When I first started, people were like, oh, you can go back to the school, essentially like ask for more money. And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I buying a house here? Like, kind of. And so when I did my first one, it was like 5 years ago. It was Hamilton College in New York. And I was told by this kind of college planning guy back east that supposedly knows his stuff, said the most he gets about 10 grand. I said, great. I'd love to get an extra 10 grand for my clients. First appeal.
Who doesn't want to get an extra 10 grand?
Yeah, by just writing.
All you're going to get is 10 grand.
Yeah, by writing a letter, right? So
yeah.
The first one I did, and we got 18,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the very first one I did. Well, since then, I've done, 30 appeals. The best I've gotten, I have a client this year, they received 0 at USC, and then they bumped it up to 53,000 in grants from the appeal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are significant numbers.
The client's like crying on the phone, like he can't even believe it.
Well, what more do we have? I sometimes I go overboard, but what's our most important thing that we have to do? And it's our kids, right? I mean, anybody that's got kids knows that. I believe anybody that in my sphere anyway. That's our most important project, our most important responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can send them to the school that they want to go to instead of someplace else,
like Chapman.
Yeah, Chapman. I mean, I like Chapman. I'm still a fan. I still.
That's
go
a great
back there.
school. I think it's like $90,000 a year now. So
well, all of them have gotten way overpriced.
Yeah, they're all the private schools are about $90,000. But the reason why you can appeal at a lot of these schools is because they have endowments. How much is in their endowments? Like USC, for example, any idea what's in USC's endowment?
$1 billion?
$8 billion.
$8 billion.
$8 billion. They have so much money. Harvard, your favorite college, I think has $53 billion in their endowment, which is more than half of the countries on earth have. Just that one school. So
I think Bill Ackman said he's not giving any more to them, though.
Well, they don't need any more. And so the point here is people sometimes think, well, I don't want to take the money from another student. Like when I appeal, These schools
So
have
let's
so much money.
I know we're out of time here, but I'm going to do this real quick math. $53 billion. Chris, you might have to help me with this. It used to be when I had my license at Merrill Lynch, we used to say, okay, if you limit your spending to 4% a year, you never touch your principal.
Yeah, that's the whole 4% withdrawal rate thing. Yeah.
So that means if I'm doing this right, let's round it to 5% because it's easier math. That means at Harvard they could spend $2.5 billion a year.
Plus,
and never touch the principal.
The Harvard, all these accounts all get like 25-30% a year. Like they earn like these crazy rates of return.
Yeah, and then they don't have to pay taxes on them.
And they're nonprofit.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's a sketchy thing. But the point here is the schools have plenty of money to give you if you know how to navigate it.
That's the bottom line. If you want some help in navigating it, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Not that I know how to do it, but I know how to get a hold of Chris Bissonnette. And I'll be happy to put you in touch. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
An older by a minute. My boss just pushed me over the limit. Like